move in. Everybody move in, man. I'm actually going to say something that you might want to hear. Jokes to get everybody. How y'all doing? I'm going to cover a couple of little things. You know, I put extension cord on there because we're hearing a lot of the grounding prongs and missing off the cord. And I talked about an assured grounding program, and today we're going to go ahead and order the tape, and probably next week when I get back to Sabine, we'll get in there with Tony and get started. Got to make sure that we've got that third prong on our extension cords. They get loose, they come out. At that point, that cord needs to go in there to Tony. We need to make sure that we got a cord that's ready to use, that's in good shape. So make sure you look at that, fellas. We don't want to have any accidents because of a poor electrical cord over here. Pay attention to what you're using. We had a little slight near miss with the crane on the other side of the yard one day this week. I want to bring that up. We were using the ISO hooks to put a container on a truck. It was unhooked. At that point, we let go of the tag lines. I don't remember if we let go of all the tag lines, but one of the crane hooks, as the hooks came to the middle, the crane operator was coming up, got hooked on the container and started lifting it up. And we talked about reaction time. The operator reacted very quickly. No adverse effects from it. We learned something from it. If we've got hooks on the end of the line, for sure, man, make sure you keep holding on to the tag lines, to those hooks. Don't have anything at all that they can get attached to. And it'd be the same probably with shackles. They can get hung under something, hooked on something. So maintain control of the tag lines even after we've set the look, to make sure that we get the bridle away from anything and it's okay. Put attitude on there. I think everybody's attitude has been pretty good, but I want to just kind of explain where we are, fellas, today. Where we were yesterday, where we're probably going to be next week. Work's a little slow. We're not at a dead stop, but it's a little slow. As a company, you make decisions when work gets slow. You work for a company that the last decision they ever want to make is to let somebody go. That's the owner of the company, that's the philosophy of the company. So we trim down on the hours. That's one of the first things that gets you in the gut. I'm making less money. So we trim down on the hours, and then the next step that we have to take is move people around the yard. Some of that has taken place, fellas. Some more of it will take place. The best thing you can do is have a good attitude about it. I know there's some prestige when I've been working over here. There's all kind of things that can swirl around in your head. But as you get from point A to point B and you're assigned new duties, obsessing about it and talking with other people about it probably puts you somewhere where you don't need to be able to work safely. We're going to be okay over here. Anybody who's been here long enough has seen periods of 40-hour work weeks. Again, the other side of the coin is, and the easy decision to make is, let's let 15 people go. That's putting a lot more money back into the company. We make the hard decision over here. We keep the people, and we try and keep the people busy. So when you're asked to go somewhere else on the yard, it's cross-training, fellas. You're more of a commodity to the organization when you learn a little bit more how the organization operates. And if you're on this side of the yard, nothing wrong with seeing how that side of the yard operates. There's nothing wrong with coming in here and learning something new. There's no punished work, and there's some work that's a little less fun than other work over here. But it's not punished work, it's work that needs to be done. We don't dream up things to do over here to watch you guys obsess and suffer with it. We do work over here because we have an end product that has to leave this facility. It takes us all to make this place work. So cooperate with us. It's not the end of the world. It's a day. Sometimes it turns into a week. We'll get back to where we were 2 months ago, and it'll seem like no time, and this will all be behind us. In the meantime, when you are asked to go somewhere else, Start asking questions at that point. If you're going to do something you've never done, what needs to happen? Somebody needs to explain to you how to do it, right? Make sure we're informed when we get ready to do something, because if it's something outside of the norm that we've never done, need a little OJT, on-the-job training. Make sure we understand what PPE we need to have, because it's not the same on both sides of the yard depending on what you're doing. Make sure we understand how the process works, and we'll be okay, won't we? It's not a bad thing, fellas. You know what's a bad thing? Waking up this morning and wondering if I'm going to be able to find a job today. That's a bad thing. I'm fortunate. I've never been there. What a terrible thing. Not to know where you're going to get some money from and trying to live a life. We're in pretty good shape over here. And we appreciate everyone's cooperation. And more than that, I appreciate everyone keeping a good attitude, because I think a good attitude goes a long way in keeping us safe over here. And once again, I can stand up here and say we've seen very little in terms of safety that's adverse to the organization. So, keep up the good work. What y'all got, fellas? We're not done until... Right. Right. The task isn't over until the crane is safely away from whatever we were picking up or setting down. So let's control whatever's on the end of that hook until we get to that part.
On the extension cords, the reason why a lot of them grounds are getting broke off is because I don't know if they're breaking them off, but they're breaking off inside the outlets. So there's a lot of them in the shop, and I'm sure around the yard that have the little prong broke off in there. So we need to, solve that before we start getting
that is your ground. That's your continuous connection to the ground, and that's what keeps you from getting shocked. So if you've got a loose prong or if you've got a missing prong, that's a damaged extension cord, and it does not need to be used. And get it back there to Tony, and we'll get it repaired, or we'll get something new. Different piece of equipment. And there's some pieces of equipment over here that, just by the nature of what they are only a bigger version of what we had. That doesn't mean it's an apple and an apple. Get familiar with what you're dealing with. Zoom boom forklift is something that you got to get some practice in, and you have to understand the dynamics of. And the most important part of it, what Eddie's saying, is make sure that you can see in front of you when you're driving it. And that's adjusting that load where you can see. Yeah, watch around the corner. We do have both mirrors up now, and we didn't have them for quite a while, but that's a hesitation point right there. Slow down before you get there, make sure you're good, and then proceed. I think that's pretty much a general rule for a corner. Slow down around the corner. Don't try and cut right close to the corner, and we should be all right. But we got two people heading toward one another that can't see one another. It's going to be bad over here. So understand that there could be somebody coming your way, and be courteous because you're going somebody else's way, and slow down around the corner. Anybody else? Hey, come on. It gets difficult, Rob, and I don't think anybody gets on it to tear it up. But what happens is it gets torn up, and then we have no idea whatsoever what happened. And it's never to go back. You know, if we find out you were out there trying to jump over a hill in it, that's a different situation. But I think when you get in a piece of equipment, it's to do some work for us. And if you approach it that way, if something happens that's adverse, let us know. Let us know about it. It might be something that we could do differently, you know? So don't be afraid to let a supervisor know that you've had something happen in a piece of equipment. In most cases, it's not going to be your fault, but in most cases, it's going to be something that if we do differently next time, we're not going to wind up in the same place, right? So it's something we can possibly help you with. Anybody else?
That's it, right? Giving a big fry, chicken fry, everybody, it's $7 a plate.
When is that?
It's today.
Today, at lunch? Chicken and fish?
Yeah.
Fried chicken, fried fish. How much?
$7.
$7. Sounds like a bargain. Somebody buy me a plate, bring it to me. All right, fellas. Look, man, we appreciate everything. Y'all keep up the good work and have a good day.